All right. I've got another word game today. And this time we're looking at something a bit like Game Pigeon word games. So if you have an Apple device, you're probably familiar with Game Pigeon. And I've more or less recreated anagrams. So here it is. And you can see I was messing around with it earlier. So I set my word length to 11. I'm just going to change it to 6. Do a little demo of the game. So if I hit play, and it zooms in, here's the game. Um, and you can change the aspect ratio. So if I wanted it in like portrait mode, I can put it in portrait mode. If I wanted it in gain ground mode, I could have it in gain ground mode. If I want it super wide, that's fine. Yeah, I can have whatever aspect I want. And then I can write words. If I try to use a word that I already have, it'll say it's already used. If I try to use a word that's too short, it'll say it's too short. If I try to use, um, yeah, a word that's not real, it'll say it's not a real word. Um, and this isn't a great setup right now. I'm trying to think of the three-letter word, or the three-letter word, the six-letter word for this example, because the way the code is written is it will always pick. Basically what it does to get these random letters is it picks one word of the length that we defined earlier. And you can see, like, when I started the video, I was kind of messing with that little length characteristic. So if I set that to like 11, then it would look in the 11 word or 11 letter long word file, and then it takes out that, just like a random line from that, and then that'll be a random word. You can see I didn't do very well. 1200 is my final score, but that's because I was talking. But it still lets you play. That's why did I write that? Okay, still lets you play. So, oh, whoops. So I have no idea what the six-letter word in this case is, but it's fine. Narte. It's not Narte. So you can still play. That is by design, because it wouldn't be that difficult just to like stop you from playing, but I don't really know if I want to stop you from playing. For one, it prints out your final score. Puts I guess it doesn't print it. It puts it up in the text box just fine. Um, so if you want to keep practicing even after you're done with your time, then it like why should I stop you from doing that? I don't really see a point. Maybe I should have it like you have to confirm to continue or something, but because it is kind of weird just to have it say final score and then just not stop. But anyway, it is, not a huge deal, I guess. And then if I change the aspect ratio, you can see the final score text shrunk to fit in the bounds of our um, new, like, this is kind of like what a phone might look like, a 9:6 phone. And then if I go back to like HD, it'll expand and the text is full size now and I can do whatever. Ultra thin. This is like if you have a really long phone. So normally a phone would be like 9:16, but this is 1:2, as you can see up here. So it still works just fine. Oh, I already used that. I mean, I really haven't been paying attention to the game because I've been busy talking about it. But okay, let's see if I can find one. I feel like it would be like ED, but I can only paked. That's not a word. Um, I don't know. Maybe packed. There we go. And so you can see I hit the comma button, and every time I hit the comma button, the timer resets, the score resets. If you have an error up, whoops, if you have an error up, so as you can see, it says too short. The moment I hit the comma button, it goes away instantly. And then I can say like, oh, cachy. It's not a word. Okay. Then I can play a new one. I can put whatever words. There's okay. Wee ha. What do you mean wee ha isn't a word? Wahi. Okay. This is getting a little silly, but and then I guess also if you have a word in and then you hit the comma button, it'll get rid of the word. And then you can hit space to shuffle your word. So if you're looking at it and you're like, okay, rage, um, gauge, gauger, jagger, jage. That's not a word. Um, gear, but it's not spelled correct. Gear. And then, maybe I'm like, oh, I don't, Gager. Oh, I already have that. Grag. What? I don't, I'm kind of running out of ideas here. Then I can say, oh, change the order that they're in. And then I see something like, oh, ear. I can just see that now. So it's helpful to be able to change it sometimes. Sometimes it's just nice. It gives you a new perspective on the letters when you see it in a different order, I believe. Yeah, okay. Jar. I already have that. Jar isn't a word. Jarg isn't a word. For some reason, arg isn't considered a word, even though it definitely should be. So I might have to do some manipulation of my data to include some things that I think should be words that aren't counted. You can see we're running out of time. Egg. Oh, I didn't get in there fast enough. Agger. That's a word? What? Ager, age, Jager, Jager. Okay, well, it's great that after the thing ended, I got another 3,000 points, just like, right in there like that. But, it is what it is. And then, I can keep resetting it as much as I want, but crake, boom, craked at this game. Anyway, R is definitely a word. What are you saying? R. But yeah. So that's more or less game. That should say be behind in order. I'll have to look at the footage again, but that's more or less Game Pigeon word games. But it's my own take on it. And another uh, another thing you can do, and I have to stop the program for this. So Game Pigeon, there's a feature where if you have Game Pigeon Plus, you can play a 7-letter anagram. That's the name of the game in Game Pigeon's anagram. And so you can see now, um, Goonie, is that a word? It is a word. Probably means Goonies is going to be, yep. And so you can see I've extended it, but then um, I can also, I'm just gonna stop. I can also say like, oh, Game Pigeon only lets you do 6 or 7. My program can do anywhere from 2 to 25. Now, realistically, if you look at my score table, actually, if you do 25, it'll give you an error. So it can do 2 to 11. But because if you do 25 and then you actually get a word that's like 12, 13, 14, past 11, then it'll try to look at the score table. It'll look at element, 25, say, in the score table, and then it'll say, wait a minute, there's only 11 of them. And you're asking me to look at 25, or it only goes up to 11. There are 12 of them, but it goes up to 11. And you're asking me to look at 25. I can't do that. It'll throw you an error. Won't stop the game from running. It will be annoying because it'll just like delete the word and then not give you any points. And it's like, oh, I just typed a, you know, 12 or 25 letter word for what? So maximum for now is 11. All I have to do to make it longer is just hit the plus button, put in another value, and then now I can make it 12. Isn't that great? So then if you really want to, you can play and you can see it doesn't even fit them all in one line. And then, I mean, what do you even do with this? Like, I feel like there's too many tinier. That's a word. Vinier. That's also a word. There's just too much. It's too much to work with. You can't really uh just like do it, you know? It just doesn't make sense. So you can do, I mean, theoretically up to 25. And then after 25 is just, there's no point really, in my opinion. And then also 25 is like a 5 by 5 grid. So I'm thinking if I were to make a word hunt game that can go up to 25, 5 by 5 grid, then that would use the word length up to 25. And then when I parsed the file, so I got a big file with all the English words, and then I split it up into 24 files from 2 to 25 letters long. That then is, each word that's 2 letters, each word that's 3 letters, 4, 5, so on. And I mean, okay, you don't really need the words that are 2 letters, but I figured for completeness, I would do that. And there weren't any 1 letter words in the original data, so I didn't bother with a 1 letter file. I mean, there are really only 2 1 letter words, A and I. Like, you can count like just the letter O as a 2 letter word, but or a 1 letter word, but I wouldn't. So yeah, that can go as high as you want. And I mean, you could go lower than 6. If you wanted, you could play like a 4 letter word game. And then that's the other thing too. I just changed the time limit. Um, well, kind of out, aren't I? Pub. Okay. Sup. Spum. Okay. So theoretically, if you wanted to, you can make it like 0 seconds. I don't really know how you do that. And I think actually, if you make it exactly 0, it'll break the program. But if you make it, actually, if you make it 0, it might let you just play, like without a time limit. Oh no, never mind. It just says final score 0. See, I didn't think it would work. Oh no, 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 never mind. It totally does work. If you make it 0.001, I think it breaks it. Yeah. But in any case, you can also say, GamePigeon by default it's 90 seconds, but if I wanted to, I could say like 180. And then that might be useful for something like, I don't know, if you do a really long word, then you might want to say like, oh, give me like 6 minutes, and then I can see if I can figure out. And I'm gonna just change the aspect to make this a little bit nicer. Let's do 16 by 9. So then, yeah, you can see it's adjusted to allow the whole range. And you can see coner isn't a word, really? Okay. Cone is a word, though. You can see now it's set to 6 minutes, or it's at like 5 minutes 30. I got my score still, still have the ability to type, still have the ability to see like errors. Liver, Clive, not counted. Okay. Clover. See what lovely words you can come up with if you have 6 minutes to think of them. But I'm not going to play a whole 6 minute game of 12 letter anagrams because it's kind of ridiculous. But you can if you want to with this program. I guess you can't, I can, but you don't have the program. So I don't know, maybe I'll release it at some point. Probably I'll have to work on it some more before I'm happy, fully excited, just ready to release it. But I mean, it's in a operable condition, that's for sure. And that's really the most you can ask for, I think. It pretty much works the exact same way as the GamePigeon Anagrams game, but there's just a lot more customizability. And I mean, I guess theoretically, if you're customizing the length and the time limit, you could customize the scores as well. And there's all this kind of fun to it. You can't play against your friends. This is really a single player thing, and I don't really think I have any way to implement a play versus friends feature. At least not that I can feasibly do for just like a little project. Just a little thing. There's nothing crazy. There's nothing not crazy. It's just normal, I guess. And yeah, and that pretty much summarizes my awesome program here. So beautiful. And then I guess it is only right and just that I should mention where I got some of the data that I'm using. So you can't see this, but I can. I guess I could show it. Right. Let me see, am I smart enough? There we go. Boom. So you can get a look at the code. I'm not going to go through the code like I did in the last video because I wrote a lot of this code multiple months ago, and so I probably don't really remember how a lot of it works, to be honest. It's a good thing I put all these comments. And these comments definitely have been helpful, I will admit. But let's see. So you can see I actually did this, so I'm just gonna delete this. You can see that I have this little chart of relative frequencies. I don't think I use this in this game, but this will be useful for. I mean, I used this in the word search generator earlier. I probably should have mentioned it. And then I also use this or I guess I would use this for like word bites if I were to make a game like that, or word hunt if I want to make that. But for now, I'm not going to. And then I don't need to keep this because my code works and it's better. And then the dictionary. So for all of the English words, I got that from this website. I got that from WordNick. So that's pretty convenient. They just have like a text file that's just got a bunch of words and quotation marks. And then I used some Python program, just a short little program to turn that text file into a whole list of text files. And then later on, when I want to access them, I just say, this is the path. And then word length is just like how long the word is that you want to generate from. And then it kind of just grabs a random one. I got this from Stack Overflow. And then it puts the letters of that into the available letters and into the word rather than just being in chosen. And then it shuffles all of that and then it writes it. So yeah, this is word game, newest word game, anagrams. Um, yeah. So that's it. See you next time. Bye.